I am going to read out this four-page long declaration. Attacks on journalists and media freedom. We, the editors, senior journalists, and civil society activists from across the country, having met at Second Conference of Media Commission Pakistan on 15th October 2011 at Islamabad, have resolved to defend freedom of expression and safeguard journalists from increasing threats to their lives and the intimidations and obstructions they face while performing their professional duties. In an environment of overwhelming intolerance, terrorism, extremism, and impunity. We are alarmed at an alarming wave of bigotry, intolerance, intimidation, violence, extremist ideological onslaught against universally recognized freedoms and human rights. Freedom of expression in particular. Pakistan's constitutional and geographical nationhood and resource to violent means by the extremists, outlaws, terrorists, and their accomplices and patrons. Concerned over increasing threats to right to life and practicing certain professions, journalism, performing arts, humanitarian research, and advocacy of rights and rule of law. Take serious exception to the brutal killing of 6 journalists this year alone, including Shafiullah Khan, Asfand Yar Khan, Salim Shahzad, Nasrullah Khan Afridi, Wali Khan Babar, Faisal Qureshi, and a lack of progress in bringing the culprits to justice in these and other over 70 cases of journalist killings. Dismayed over deteriorating law and order situation and incapacity or a lack of will of the elected government and the state institutions in stemming the spread of intolerance, violence, extremism, and terrorism. Worried over a lack of consistency in eradicating terrorism and extremism and a failure to extend the sovereign writ of the state to the Pak territories and various no-go areas taken over by the terrorists and outlaws, and not strictly stopping terrorists and sectarian outfits from operating in various disguised forms and spread of hate materials through various means. Perturbed over the self-appointed moral brigades to impose their barbaric values on others, women and minorities in particular, and calls to grant a license to kill, such as Salman Taseer case, and making the rule of the jungle prevail over due process of law and justice. Disappointed over not changing the media laws, especially the information law, PAMRA law, and press council law. Condemning killing, torture, and victimization of working journalists by various state and non-state actors, non-implementation of 7th Wage Board Award, retrenchment of media persons, long delays in the payment of dues, and a lack of protection, due wages, risk allowance, and insurance coverage for journalists reporting from conflict zones. Retreat our full faith in constitutional, democratic, and representative system that ensures freedoms and fundamental rights, an independent judiciary, a free and responsible media, and above all, sovereignty of our people reflected through federal and provincial legislatures. In our view, with the kidnapping and brutal murder of journalist Salim Shahzad, Wali Babar, and 29 journalists killed in a targeted manner, the question of safety of journalists has become the most frightening issue for all those who cover or write on conflict, terrorism, extremism, and strategic issues. This is the consequence of erosion of the writ of the state that is being reinforced by the rise of extremism and terrorism that, in return, are benefiting from Pakistan's regional and global isolation. Amid increasing intolerance backed by power to kill with impunity is constraining freedom of expression and making the job of journalists, artists, and rights activists a most hazardous undertaking. Not only that, there are no-go areas controlled by extremist, sectarian, or ethnic fascist outfits such as in Fata, Pakhtunkhwa, Balochistan, and Karachi. But also there are crucial ideological, academic, cultural, strategic, and policy issues that can't be addressed in a free, sensible, scientific, and objective framework. Predominance of extremism, a hybrid of fanaticism, jingoism, and authoritarianism, fueled by violent sentiments and backed by armed militias, is making both state and society vulnerable to conflicts and suffocating alternative, moderate, democratic, and rational viewpoints. So far, at least 29 journalists have been subjected to target killings, besides more others who fell in the line of duty in a conflict situation and some kind of retaliation or enmity. Most of the journalists and media outlets have been forced to either fall in line to one or the other party to the conflict or observe self-censorship on issues and reports of vital importance. Rather than taking a firm stand against intolerance and intimidation, many journalists and most media outlets prefer to adapt to the dominant extremist, isolationist, and populist narratives and compensate for their lack of independence, objectivity, and courage by targeting soft targets such as the vulnerable parts of our power structure, the poor civilians. The dilemma to appease or fight extremism and terrorism not only confused many in the security establishment but also sent conflicting signals to the public and journalists, who were either embedded or in their professional zeal tried to expose the real face of various parties to the conflict. Most journalists who were caught in the crossfire of the conflict or lost their lives in target killings by state or non-state actors became victim of this most confusing war theater. As the war theater expanded and got more and more confusing, the intelligence agencies tried to bring more and more media persons and organizations on board. Not only some of those who were embedded became the victim of their critique when they broke with the line, but some of those brave journalists who remained loyal to their professional code fell to the guns or faced untold hardships. As a mirror reflection of the ground situation and the divides in society, media also became a replica of a debilitating conflict in both ideological and professional terms. Taking sides became the norm that undermined the professional ethics of journalism. The ideological confusion created by the religious sectarian extremism further confused journalists and sharply divided them on ideological lines. That also tainted reporting on ideological lines the way the Lal Masjid, Mumbai terrorism, SWAT operation, and Governor Salman Taseer's murder and his glorified murderer were covered by the media, showed us how media should not have behaved. The protests on the judgment in Salman Taseer's case and calls for their murderers' release from the process of legal justice call for serious reflection on whether we are for rule of law or rule of jungle. Given the horizontal divides and increasing sectarian gulfs, the state and society can't be held together without allowing a rule of law and keeping it above ideological and sectarian divides. Those who are calling for sanity, upholding of fundamental human and civil rights, supremacy of the Constitution, and sustaining democracy and freedom of expression are being targeted by the ideologues of Neo-Inquisition who apostatize the dissent and reject pluralism. With democracy back on rail, which no democrat and journalist should ever try to derail in his or her enlightened interest, various organs of the society must go back to their original and constitutionally mandated sphere. It calls for revising civil-military relations in general and media-military relations in particular. If the sovereign will of the people is to be duly respected, without which there is no meaning of sovereignty, the policies of war and peace, security and foreign affairs must be in the hands of an elected government. And if a free and professional media is to flourish, the government and its agencies must respect its freedom, and the media, in turn, observe its own professional ethics. In a situation of war, rising terrorism and intolerance, the freedom of expression and right to know became easy victims. It calls for various legal, professional, and administrative measures. First of all, there is a greater need to make people, state institutions, media, political and religious parties respect freedom of expression in every form and observe tolerance to pluralism and difference of opinion. The media, on its part, must observe professional and ethical standards and should agree to some credible self-regulatory accountability mechanisms. The security agency should stop recruiting journalists and define a clear code of embedding journalists in a transparent manner. Two lessons are to be drawn from this muddy experience of war on terror. One, the journalist should seek information from wherever it is coming, but should neither become the part of nor spy for one warring group or the other, including security organizations and militant outfits. They must adhere to their professional code of conduct while taking all safety measures, but it still remains a professional hazard to report conflict objectively, fairly, fearlessly, and impartially. Two, the security and intelligence agencies should also draw a clear line not to exceed their lawful limits which bring a bad name to their professional institutions. They should drastically rethink their media engagement policy and stop keeping an army of pseudo journalists on their payroll who have proved to be good for nothing. It must stop these elements within who indulge in any manner in unlawful acts of harassing citizens and journalists that brings a bad name to most effective arms of our national security. We call upon the creation of a tolerant and democratic culture, respect for freedom of expression for all, and an end to hate speech and extremist sectarian literature or electronic products. Reform of curricula and education system, an open cultural policy, promotion of performing arts and humanities, freedom of expression, right to know, and the right to dissent must be respected. Terrorism and extremism, sectarian or terrorism in all its form and manifestations must be prohibited in all levels, and the writ of the state must extend to all areas of Pakistan and ensure geographical integrity and national sovereignty. And rule of law and due process of justice must prevail without exception. Extremist vigilantism must be curbed. Besides investigating Salim Shehzad case, the Judicial Commission must expand its mandate to address the pattern of intimidation of journalists, media-military relationship, secret funds to manipulate the media, issues of freedom of expression and right to know, security of and insurance coverage for media persons. Some institutional arrangements, such as an ombudsman to provide protection to journalists under threat, the Commission should release its report to public, which the government and its institutions must implement. All cases of target killings of journalists should be investigated and culprits must be brought to book. The armed forces, paramilitary forces, and their intelligence agencies, IB, and other secret agencies must evolve a clear policy and code of conduct of embedding journalists and keep out of the business of controlling the media. In their own institutional interest, they should critically rethink media-military relations while respecting freedom of expression and right to know. There are better ways to do things respecting freedom of expression and there are better ways to do things rather than adopting rough and counterproductive tactics. The media code of ethics must be observed by journalists in reporting conflicts. The media in all respects and affairs should raise professional standards, observe media ethics, and agree to a credible and autonomous regulatory framework. The journalists should be provided a risk and life insurance coverage by both the government and media employers, training in conflict reporting, safety measures, and kits besides security to be provided by the security agencies are some of the measures that should be undertaken. Journalists must be required to undergo training in conflict reporting, and their employers must be made responsible for their training. This training may be arranged by the Information Ministry and PEMRA in cooperation with the Pakistan Army. The government must set aside a fund for the compensation to the family in case a journalist is killed while on duty. In the conflict zone, the journalist must be required to wear a reinforced jacket to make him secure against bullet wounds. He must be equipped with a proper communication device such as cell phone so that he can get in touch with his employer and any other authority set up by the state to ensure his safety. Freedom of expression must be respected in the light of Johannesburg Principles 1995 and all state functionaries be sensitized about them. Proposed freedom of information draft should be presented before the Parliament for approval and rules may be framed immediately. Ombudsman may be appointed at federal, provincial and FATA levels with the powers of Supreme or High Court judge to entertain all complaints regarding harassment and killing of journalists. Similarly, all media organizations must also appoint an autonomous and effective ombudsman in their respective organizations to entertain all complaints against media persons. The interference of agencies in the media profession must be stopped by the leadership of the armed forces, and complaint cells be created in all security agencies to entertain the complaints of citizens against the excesses of their officials. All secret funds held by Information Ministry, other ministries, and secret agencies regarding media should be regularly scrutinized by a joint committee of the Parliament. The press clubs all over Pakistan and media organizations must be supported by the provincial governments under the scrutiny of the Federal Information Ministry to ensure security of the collective body of journalists and media outlets when threatened with closure by terrorist organizations. The government of Pakistan should support SAFMA at the SARC level to create its endowment fund through SARC Development Fund. The government of Pakistan, as a part of its contribution from among other member states of SARC, should support SAFMA South Asian Media School by sanctioning a grant to the Trust of South Asian Media School. Thank you. It's over.